Now we are going to see for loop in Python programming. For loop is also called as count control loop. It basically designed to work with sequence of data items. So sequence of data items, it can be a list or it can be by using a range function. The syntax of the for loop is, see here, it is mentioned the syntax for variable in val1, val2 and the statements. Means what? Whatever the items will be there in the list, we will individually consider into this variable. And then we have to print the statement. Let's see with the example. We are seeing for loop, which is also called as count control loop. Okay. Now, what is this for loop? I am writing, suppose I'm taking one list. A is equal to, I'm taking one list as apple, mango, okay. Now I want to print all the list using for loop. So the syntax of for loop is for take any I you can take, or you can take the element, any variable name you can take here. I will be taking it as a for val in A. Okay, see how I am writing for val in A, print A. Now it will helping me to print the list. Now see, the val means what? This individual items in the list. Okay, this is what val is, or you can give val instead of val, you can give I also. Okay, and just simply print I. Now see, I means the individual item from the list. I could be apple, I could be mango, I could be banana. So I have said that for I in A, print I, means every time the individual element will get printed. You can observe the output here. It is printing apple, mango and banana. I have written for I in A. I means individual item in this list. Okay. Similarly, if I am writing the different types of list, like combining multiple data types, suppose I am writing A is equal to 1, 4.5, apple. Okay. Now, if I am writing for, instead of I, you can take any variable element in A. I'm writing print ELE. Now ELE is the variable that is taking the individual item in the list. So whenever I will print it, I'm getting the individual items from the list. So this is the for loop. Okay, it will help you to print the data by individually. So every time it will run the code, it will run for the first element, then it will run for the second element, then it will run for the third element. This is by using a list. The same code we can do by using a range function also. So if I want to print the sequence of numbers, I will be using a range function. You already know what is the range function. It helps us to print the data in a sequence order. So what is the range? What is the syntax of range function? See, A is equal to, I'm writing inside the list, I'm writing range 0, 10. And whenever I will print that A, see, it is helping me to print 0 to 9 numbers. So this is the range function. Now the same code we will see by using a for loop. Now I'm writing for x in range 0 to 11, print x. Now this x will treat every individual element in the range as individually. Okay, so whenever I will run the code, you will observe that it is coming all the 10 numbers sequentially one by one with the help of for loop. Earlier it was coming into the form of list only, right? But now this range function, you will observe it is coming one by one. It is coming into the form of sequence. So for x in range 0 to 1 means whatever the elements are mentioned in this 0 to 11, the individual element will be considered it as a x, and that x we have printed here. Okay, you can do the same code in this manner also, like can put here as n is equal to 11. Okay, and then you can write for I in range 0 to n. Now we already know n is 11, so we have written 0 to n and just print I. It will help me to print the numbers. And these are the multiple ways we can put it. Okay. Now in this code, I want to print all the even numbers. I just want to print all the even numbers. Or I have written here n is equal to 11. Instead of that, I can take the values of n from the user also. So I'll write int input, enter the number. Okay, so now whenever I will run the code, it is saying me to enter the number. So whenever I will enter the number, it will help me to print those values from 0 to n. N means user input. Okay, so this way you can do. And now if you want to find out the even numbers, only the even numbers from that range, then simply add the logic of even number, that is if I mod 2 is equal to 0, we will print I. See, it is asking me to put numbers, and I put the number 11, that is the stop number. It is coming the value still 10. Okay, so this is how we can use the for loop. Now let's take the another example to find the sum of digits. Okay, sum of digits means what? Suppose I have taken 5 numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Okay, so the output I will be getting is 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. Okay, so the output I will get is 15. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. That is called as sum of digits. So let's see that code now. See, I'm taking the user input for that. Okay. After that, I'm putting initializing s to 0. Okay, then I'm writing for x in range 0 to n. I'm just writing s is equal to s plus x, and then I'm printing the value of s. Now you will observe that when I enter the number 5, it is printing 0 plus 1. Let me print x also. See, now you will observe that there are 0 to 9 numbers at the left hand side, and at the right hand side 0 plus 1 1, 1 plus 2 3, 3 plus 3 6, 6 plus 4 10, 10 plus 5 15, 15 plus 6 21, 21 plus 7 28. Likewise I am getting the output, and the final output, if you observe, it is 45. So if you add all the 9 numbers, 0 plus 1 plus 2 plus 3 till 9, you will get the output 45 only. Okay, so this is how we can print the sum of the digits number.
And
Now let's see to print the multiplication table using for loop. Again, I want to take the user input. Okay, I've taken the user input. Now I'm writing for I in range 1 to 11. C is equal to n into I. This is what we write the logic. N will be the user input and I will be the iterations from 1 to 11. And just print the output. So I'm printing the output as print n into I is equal to comma C. Now I'm writing 4 here. You will observe I'm getting the table of 4. Okay. What we did is we have taken the n as an input from the user. Then I have written for I in range 1 to 11. Now I in this case will be my elements from 1 to 11, individual elements. Okay. If you observe this column 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, these are the I. Okay. This 4 is the n and the output will be my C. And I have just printed the output by using the for loop. So this is the multiplication table. Any number if you put, you will get the table of that, okay, using the for loop. Now let's take another example. I'm taking one string as KITCOEK. Okay, I've taken one string. Now I want to print the elements from that string. So what I should write? I want to print the elements from the string 1. So I will write for I in string 1, print I. So see, the output we get is the individual elements KITCOEK. Okay, we have just printed the elements from that string 1. I have written for I in string 1. I means the individual element from that string. And I have just printed that I. So this is the code which we have just printed 0 to 10 numbers. Just you have to write for I in range 0, 11, print I. Okay. Now I want to print all the odd numbers from the range 0 to 11. What I should write? The same code I will repeat here for I in range 0 to 11. Now here I need to write the logic of the odd number, that is if I mod 2 is not equal to 0, print. So you will observe that the odd numbers are getting printed. Okay. So this is how we can use the for loop. Now let's take another example using the for loop. I'm taking one list. Okay. Let's take L is equal to okay. Now I have taken one list. Now what I will be doing is I'm writing the for loop for I in range. Now I need to calculate the length of that list. So we have a len function which helps us to find the length of that string. So I'm writing len. Okay, means the range function will first find out the length, and on that basis it will help us to print the indexing. So I will write print I will just write hello first, comma, L of I. Now you will observe that, see, it is displaying hello Peter, hello John, and hello Jenny. What I did is, see, again I will show you. I have written L is equal to Peter, John, and Jenny. Okay, this is my list. Then what I did, I have written for loop I in range length in bracket L. Means with the help of this range function, I had find the length of the list L. So the length will be 3. Okay. No, length will be 2. It will start from 0 index, first index, and then second index. Okay. So now I have printed L into I. L into I is nothing but the indexing part. Okay. So at the I, there will be first 0 value, then there will be 1 value, and then there will be 2 value. Accordingly, we are getting the output hello Peter, hello Jenny, hello John, and hello Jenny. Okay. So I is nothing but the indexing. At 0th location, we will print Peter. At the first location, we will print John. And at the second location, we will print Jenny. So this is the simple code you can use using this list. Just find out the length with the help of len function and print it with the help of indexing. Okay. So this is the one program. Now another, let's take another example. I'm writing for I in range 0, 5. I'm printing it, print I. Okay. Now see, I'm writing else. Means when we are completed with the 0 to 5 printing, okay, I will say we are end, yeah, or end the loop. I'm just printing loop end. Loop end. Now see what the output I'm getting is. It is printing 0 to 1, 4 numbers, and then it is saying loop end. So after completion of this 0 to 5, printing 0 to 4, it will say loop end. So whenever it will go to the fifth number, it will say loop end. Okay. So you can use the else part also in the while loop or the for loop. Now let's take one more example. I'm taking one list named as digit. I'm writing digit is equal to 0, 1, 5. Then I'm writing the loop for I in digit, print I. Now tell me what will be the output of this. Print I. So the output will be 0, 1, and 5 in sequence order. Okay. So this is the simple example using for loop. You can use the list also, or you can use the range, or you can use simply string. Now let's take another example of string. I'm taking one s as a string. Inside that I'm writing Python programming, and I want to print this string. So I'm using for I in s, print I. So if you observe this, I'm getting the output in sequence order. Okay. So you can use list as well as string as well as range function. Now let me take another example. Suppose I want to take the inputs from the user. Let's take uh, total. I'm writing total, initializing total to the 0. Okay. Now I am writing for I in range 3. Let me give 3 range. Okay. I'm taking the marks from the user of 3 subjects. So I'm writing marks is equal to int input. Okay, enter marks, I will say here. Enter marks. Okay. See, what I did is I have taken the for loop in range of 3 and I have written inside that marks of 3 subjects. So that user will give the marks of 3 subjects. And I want to calculate the total. So total will be total plus marks. Now initially total value is 0. So it will be total plus marks. And just print the total, or we can find out the average as well. So I'm taking a average is equal to total divided by 3 and I'm printing the average. See, now it is saying enter marks. First I have to enter the marks as 50. Okay, then I got the average, that is 16. Now it is printing the average and total of first marks. Okay, again it is saying for the second thing. So second marks I'm printing 79. It is giving me the output as 43.0. Then I'm printing 60. It is giving me 63.0. Okay, now what we will do is instead of this, I will print the average. Okay, let me write like this. Okay, now see, you will observe that 3 marks I have taken as an input and then it is giving me the average. How I have written, see this, for I in range 3. 3 means it will help you to take the marks 3 times. Okay, now I have said marks is equal to int input. That means we are taking the user input into the marks variable. Then I have written the logic to find out the total. That is total is equal to total plus marks. That is 0 plus whatever the user will input marks. Okay, we will get the total. Now, here the for loop is been ended. And at the next line, I have written the average. So average is equal to total divided by 3. And I have printed the average. So whenever I will run the code, it will ask me to print the marks of 3 subjects. So I'm writing 55, 54, 45. So the average will be 51 point whatever it is. Okay, and just print average. So this is the simple code if you want to print the average. Now, based on this average, you can write the if else loop or elif loop, which will help you to print the grades. So based on the average, whatever the average the user have got, you can put he have got distinction or he have got first class or second class or he's been failed. Okay, so the logic of elif you can write it here. So this is the simple program of grading system using for loop. We have get the 3 subject marks and we have find out the average accordingly. So this is the one way we can find out the marks of 3 users at a time with the help of for loop.